I don't, because Charlton surprised us, didn't they? We didn't expect that from them. But again, as always, we are, top of the league. And we are expected to do very well this season, but we always respect the opposition.
Of course we do.
We don't ever turn up thinking that any game is going to be easy. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And as we know, Birmingham City have made a fantastic start to the EFL League One season, sitting top of the division after 11 games with 28 points. The best start that we've ever had to a Football League season. But another team that's doing remarkably well this season in the league and also is right near the top in fourth place is Mansfield Town. And that's who Birmingham City are playing this weekend at Mansfield. Myself and Matt have got tickets. We'll be there and we're really looking forward to this game. And in this video, as always, we preview Mansfield and give our opinions on what we think about the different teams and what we think the lineup will be for Birmingham City. So Mansfield Town at the weekend. Tough fixture, do you think?
Yeah, I think it is, Dad. And I remember watching Barnsley versus Mansfield, which was the first game this season, which was on the Friday night. And I remember it because there was a championship game alongside it. And for the past 10 or 15 years, I've watched the championship game. And I was like, I think I better watch the League One game this time. So I ended up watching Barnsley versus Mansfield. And I think going into that, because they were the home team as well, Barnsley were favourites. And actually Mansfield won that game. So fair play to them. And they've looked pretty good this season. They're in fourth. Newly promoted with Wrexham, Stockport and Crawley. And apart from Crawley, those three were dubbed to do quite well this season.
Yep.
And, Mansfield currently sitting in fourth. So they're having a very good season so far. Nigel Clough's the manager. I think he's got them set up very well. Very experienced League One manager. I think he's part of the big key to their success. He knows this league. He knows what to do. He knows how to win. But, this should be a good game, Dad, because, we're coming off the back of this, top of the league. Really good form, really good momentum, and Mansfield as well are coming into this full of momentum. Lots of wins. Both teams used to winning, scoring goals. So we've got our tickets. We just about made it on gold. Looking forward to it. Should be a good game.
Yeah, very much so. And I think it's fair to say that they're probably the surprise package of League One at the moment. I think not that's not being a disrespectful comment. It's just that they came up from League Two, and everybody would have looked at Wrexham as and Stockport, who actually won the league last year, and thought, well, they're going to be the teams that are probably likely to shine. But Mansfield have done very, very well, and in their last 7 games they've won 6. And lost one. The surprise result was when they lost at home to Stevenage.
But it was the first half that did them there, Dad. Sorry to interject, because just while that popped up, I watched the first half of that game and Mansfield were all over the place. I mean, they came out and had a much better second half, but they just seemed a bit unbalanced in that first half against Stevenage. And they scored a screamer of a free kick, to be fair, Stevenage. But sorry.
And the results that they've had. Let's go from the start of the season, because there's a few, just to remind viewers of what they've done so far this season. So as you said, they started off the season with a good 2-1 away victory at Barnsley. Then they drew 3-3 with Burton Albion. And then lost 4-1 to Lincoln, which is obviously their worst result of the season. And then had a 1-1 draw with Stockport. And then their win sequence started. Beat Cambridge 2-1 at home. Shrewsbury 2-1 at home. Northampton 2-0 away. Crawley 2-0 away. Blackpool they beat 2-0 at home. Then they had that 1-0 loss at home to Stevenage. And this on Tuesday they beat Wigan 2-1 away. Now, you look at the teams that they've played and you would say actually most of those teams are towards the bottom of the division. But we've said before, it doesn't matter. I mean, 3 points is 3 points and you can only beat the opposition that's put in front of you. Now they sit fourth in the league with the confidence of the wins. And I think they're a dangerous team, and I think that, we'll have to be on our game, particularly at home, that we'll have to be on our game to ensure that we play our game. If we play our game to the way we can play it, it'll be tough for Mansfield.
We have much higher quality levels than Mansfield, Dad. I believe that. But what Mansfield have going for them, which we have to be aware of, is that grit and that determination, and they're scrappy. Yeah. And, Nigel Clough has them playing to their strengths. He kind of reminds me of John Eustace. He really knows how to get the best out of the qualities of his team. And Mansfield have quite a bit of an older squad, which I'm sure we're going to go through some of their players now, Dad. I mean, Lee Gregory, their forward's 36. So they have some more experienced heads on them, a bit more mature players. And I've seen Mansfield get dominated in games this season, but they've still come out and won it because they've got that togetherness, that grit, that determination. And again, a bit like the Wrexham theory, Dad. I always use Wrexham as my sort of case in point when I use this example, very together.
Yeah.
They're a unit. You don't get promoted from League Two or get promoted from any division if you're not a very together unit. And I feel like this is what a lot of these teams have going for them. Your Mansfield, your Wrexhams, they're very together, and that can't be understated. And as I said, Nigel Clough has them really playing to their strengths.
They have got some really good players. We'll go through it. Let me just talk to you through some of their arrivals in the summer. They bought a player called Will Evans, centre forward from Newport.
He's doing well this season. He scored last night. Tuesday night.
Yeah, they bought a defensive midfielder called Keanu Bacchus from St Mirren. That was a free transfer. Then they bought Adedeji Oshilaja from Burton Albion on a free transfer. Fraser Blake Tracy from Swindon. Lee Gregory, Sheffield Wednesday, on a free transfer. Ben Quinn from Celtic on a free transfer, and a few others as well. They have had a few departures. There's not been, in fact, actually, compared to a lot of teams, there's been very minimal turnaround of players compared to other teams. They have had some, but not to the extent of some teams. They left where Callum Johnson, a right back, went to Bradford. George Cooper, a centre back, went to Kidderminster. John Joe O'Toole, a centre back, he went to AFC Wimbledon. Anthony Hartigan went to Barnet. He is a central midfielder, and there's a few others as well. So, but to me, Lee Gregory, you mentioned him, 36. You might think, oh, that's quite old for a footballer, particularly for a centre forward. But actually, he's their top scorer this season. He's got 6 goals. Will Evans, who is a new player, that's the one I just mentioned, but he's got 5 goals. Aaron Lewis, a right midfielder, he's got 2. Keanu Bacchus has got 1. Stephen Quinn's got 1. But also on assists as well. They've got a left back called Stephen McLaughlin, or McLaughlin, whatever the name is, and that's 3 assists. So that's left back. So that tells you that it's going to be wing play, or wing backs. Keanu Bacchus has got 2 assists, so they do score plenty of goals. So
good goals as well.
Yeah, good quality goals. They're very much a team football. They're not individuals. They're creating team goals, and some of the goals that they score are really good. They like attacking through the middle, but also they will attack wide as well. And we have to be mindful of these type of teams. But as I say, we saw what happened with Bolton when they played us on Tuesday. They tried to play through our midfield and couldn't. So what did they do in the second half? Bolton resorted to long balls because they will know if you try and play through our midfield, we will break them down and we will create chances for ourselves. So they might have to adapt their game to do that as well. They lost their top goal scorer last season, a guy called Davis Keller-Dunn. I think he went to Barnsley. He had 22 goals last season. He's not with them. Lucas Atkins still with them. He got 14 goals. George Maris, 11 goals. Will Swan, he's gone. He got 10 goals. I think they scored last year over 90 goals in their promotion season.
Wow.
In League Two. But it shows you that even though those goals have gone from their team, clearly they're doing very well and still scoring goals. And they've obviously haven't got really a problem in finding the back of the net.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to pick up on that one point you mentioned, Dad. You mentioned about being able to go out wide and through the middle. I don't know whether a lot of teams do this in League One, but they've played 11 games so far this season, and they've started the game with 6 different formations. So Nigel Clough isn't afraid to mix it up. He clearly does his research and adapts his formation to depending on who he's playing. So we could see a completely new man's.
Yeah. Well, if he looks at our team, he'll start off with 7 in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
Against
well, in his post-match interview, because they played Wigan at the time of recording on the Tuesday evening, and then the last question they ask is, are you excited and gearing up for Saturday? He even said, I'm not excited for it or something. But basically, he was saying we need to regroup as a team and think about Saturday. That's what he was saying, but it was really funny because it came across like, no, I'm not looking forward to Saturday, which is Birmingham City. But I really respect and like Nigel Clough.
So do I.
I think he's a really good manager, actually.
Me too, yeah.
And I just got a few things from my Mansfield research, Dad, which I think you might find surprising. Quite niche statistics, right? All the goals they've conceded this season, except for 2, have come under the 52nd minute. So does that tell us that they end game stronger than they start them? Could we expect a few goals maybe for Blues early and then Mansfield come into the game a little bit later on? And also they can see the majority of their goals either 10 minutes before or 5 minutes after half-time break. Right. So again, there's a big problem there in the lead up to half-time and just after half-time. Is that saying that they have concentration issues?
Well, let me impress you, because those 2 goals that you say they conceded after 52 minutes were both against Burton.
Were they?
Burton scored 2 late goals, yeah.
Wow.
So basically, apart from the Burton game, The latest that they've conceded a goal is round about the 50th,
53rd minute.
Yeah.
So every goal conceded is 53rd or below.
Yeah. So but that might be a challenge against us because we tend to get better and better as the game goes on because our team is super fit, isn't it?
Exactly.
And we seem to we have done. Mansfield may be different. I'm sure Mansfield fans will tell us this won't happen to us, but it's happened to every team so far. We wear them down.
Yeah, we do.
We wear them down, and then apart from Charlton, that's the exception. I think they matched us fitness wise, and that's why they ended up winning that game.
Because usually by about 75 minutes, would you say, Dad? 75-ish.
Yeah, we see
the other team is really flagging.
It's because we have so much possession; they're just chasing the ball, and we've seen with all of the opposition, apart from Charlton, is that they just run out of energy.
Yeah.
So that may be an issue with them, but I don't know. Obviously, we only know about Mansfield from what we've seen in games and what we've researched. They may be a super fit team. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't, because Charlton surprised us, didn't they?
We
didn't expect that from them. But again, as always, we are top of the league. And we are expected to do very well this season, but we always respect the opposition.
Of course, we do.
We don't ever turn up thinking that any game is going to be easy. We know that, and particularly in away games as well. Look at Lincoln. We were there last week, weren't we? And they started off with a goal in the first minute. It's just don't know on somebody else's ground what's going to happen. And
I always say all it takes is a bad refereeing decision, because against Lincoln we were only a penalty decision away. Sorry, that penalty going in away from them, then parking the bus and it being a completely different outcome. We've had a couple of games where it's only been a goal swing. So as you say, just hitting that point home, Dad, we have to respect everyone in this division. And we are top for a reason. We deserve to be top of this league. We are playing incredible football. We do have bags of quality, and more important than that, we have bags of depth, whereas other teams can't match the quality that we have on the bench. And even people aren't even making the bench. Like Alphonse Samsted didn't even make the bench against Bolton, and he's the Icelandic international. Yeah. So it just shows.
And we've got Bielek out injured.
Yeah. Stansford has been out injured, but he's back now.
He come back. We have got that strength in depth, which is really, really important. But the minute that any of the players become complacent, that's when we'll start to have
Chris
problems.
Davis won't let them become complacent.
We can't be, and we've got to respect. And I respect Mansfield. I mean, what they've done so far has been brilliant. And obviously after this game, we'll wish them well. Obviously until they come to St.Andrews. but it's good. It's nice to see teams like who come up from a previous division do really, really well as well. So fair play to them what they've done. It's interesting, isn't it, Matt? When we seem to be playing teams, they always seem to be on a good. Like Bolton, when we played them, they'd won 4 and drawn 1 of the last 5. Lincoln were on a brilliant run. Yeah. We always seem to play teams at their peak, or when they're doing very, very well. And Mansfield are no different as well. And just a few stats as well on their record as well. So they're the home team last season. Now this isn't a promotion season, so you would expect this, but they won 13, drawn 7, only lost 3. They didn't lose many games at home. So they're a good, strong home team. So we've got to be mindful of that. Their away record, just for interest, won 13. Sorry, I can put my glasses. I think it's won 11, drawn 7 and lost 5. So that was a promotion season, so they would expect them to have won a lot of games, and they did. But just to be mindful, in the last game against Wigan, they played a 3-5-2, like you said. They did. When you research a team, normally you can sort of by just doing a little bit of research, that's their style.
Yeah.
This one, Nigel Clough is somebody who obviously clearly looks very closely at the opposition. He'll do that against Birmingham City as well. Yeah. I don't know what formation he's going to do against us. I think he's going to have he might have to have a 3-5-2 against us, or even a 4-4-2 maybe.
A lot of teams do 3-5-2, but with the 5 in the midfield, they often do wing back. So basically, in the defensive side of the game, they do have 5. They do have 5 at the back.
That's what I think he'll do, because we got Paik and Awata probably starting, and they just control everything. So. Yeah. If they want to have any impact on that, they're going to have to pack their midfield. But the problem if they do that for them, though, is that they put too many players in midfield. They're giving us spaces on our wings. Yeah. So it's a tough decision for Nigel Clough, and whether or not he's got 2 up front. Whether he persists with 2 or maybe goes 1 up front. With like we do with the number 10 maybe, something like that. But I'm not going to do his tactics for him. But I'm just trying to envisage what they would potentially do for us. But no matter what they do, if we play our game, we we're capable of coping with any type of formation or any type of team. So it's not really a major issue for us. So, I mean, their strengths are, good attacking midfield, which is where a lot of their goals from, a good striking partnership because they score plenty of goals. But also, they're quite comfortable in possession as well. But I don't think they'll get much possession against us. I think we'll dominate the ball because we have in every game. I think our average possession of the 11 games we've played in the league so far is 70%.
But even Mansfield, Dad, if they decide to go more direct, they do have Lee Gregory up top, who's very experienced, so he could cause us some problems even if they decide to go long. So
interestingly, Matt, he didn't start against. He didn't start against Wigan.
It was Will Evans and I forgot the other name, but
it's Wayne.
That's it. Well, Will Evans scored.
Yeah.
And he scored a really good goal. He caught Wigan out at the back and pinged it in from about 20, 25 yards. Really good goal.
Do you know what we said this about every team in League One, no matter whether they're a team that's near the bottom or the top, all teams have got good players. So there are going to be players in every team that are quite capable of hurting us. But Lee Gregory, I mean, it might be that because of his age, he might have been given a rest. Maybe Mansfield fans could tell us, about Lee Gregory. Why didn't he start the last game? I've not heard that he's injured or anything like that.
Maybe resting.
Maybe because as a 36-year-old player playing a lot of games in a short period of time, you might need to manage them type of players. And that might have been the case with Nigel Clough. They are quite they are quite vulnerable at the back, or can be vulnerable at the back. So we could potentially exploit that as well. But overall, clearly their league position shows that they're no pushover. They're going to be a challenge for us, as they are with every other team. And we just need to be mindful of those challenges. Yeah,
absolutely. So nice segue then. Should we get ourselves onto the Blues team, Dad? Should we start how we always do and go through what we think the starting 11 will be, and then talk a little bit about what we might expect?
Let's do that. Just a quick caveat with this. Obviously, there's lots of possibilities with Blues, so we're going to give our sort of impression or our idea of what we think will be the starting lineup.
Yes,
but there's lots of ifs, maybes in this. But let's start with the goalkeeper.
Ryan Allsop.
It's got to be. He's fixed on number one now.
I feel like he's found his form, and he's saving penalties. He's saving that shot against Bolton. His distribution's really good. He looks calm. I feel like as a fan at St.Andrews, like we did at the Bolton game, a lot more secure.
And against Lincoln.
With Ryan Allsop in goal. So even that speaks volumes when you're a bit more confident when you're sitting there. So for me, Ryan Allsop.
I agree. So let's go left back first.
Cochrane has to be, doesn't it? Don't get me wrong, Cochrane is quality, but also there's a lack of depth there, isn't there? So it's kind of Cochrane's position until Buchanan gets back.
Yeah, Cochrane. Shall we go to the central midfield pairing?
Yes, I think why change it? It's going to be Clara and Ben Davies.
It will be. Obviously, Bielek is still out injured. Yeah. Sanderson's available on the bench, but you can't drop Ben Davies.
Clara
will probably be captain again as well. I read today that he's like one booking away from a suspension, Clara. That's going to happen.
That's coming.
It will happen. It'll happen anyway because I think the amnesties when we get to 18 games or something like so he's not going to get booked in 7 or 8 games. So I think maybe he needs to pick when he gets the yellow card who's coming next, and maybe do it that way round. But I mean, fair play to him. So it will be Clara. I think he'll be captain as well.
Yeah.
And Ben. I thought Ben Davies was really good against.
He's solid, isn't he?
Yeah.
Clara's the brick wall, and what I've been impressed with Ben Davies is, as centre halves in Chris Davies' style of football, you expected to have a lot of the ball at your feet, and he seems really calm and collected and can distribute. And
he's experienced, Matt. I mean, he had many hundreds of games with Preston
in the Championship.
Preston, and I don't think the move to Rangers did him any favours because I don't think he was favoured up there. He wasn't his first choice, so he didn't play many games. But he's already demonstrated in the games he's played for us.
Yeah.
Because we thought, we got Bielek and Clara. How's anybody else going to get in? But of course, you have injuries, you have suspensions, and done well. So Davis and Clara, we agree there.
Yeah.
Interesting one next. What about right back?
I think he's going to continue with Ethan Laird.
I do as well.
I think Chris Davies is going to continue with that pick from the Bolton game. Obviously, Ethan Laird came on against Lincoln, didn't he? Beautiful ball down to Yokoyama for that goal. And he played well against Bolton as well. So I've got a feeling Chris Davies is, in his mind, Ethan Laird is his number one right back. And I think he's going to continue with him. And I feel a bit sad because, not sad, but bad for Taylor Gardner-Hickman because he's done absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, he's been phenomenal in that position since. But I do think, actually, I mean, Ethan Laird, he likes to bolt up the pitch, don't he? He gives us even more, arguably, going forward. I mean, Taylor Gardner-Hickman's had good delivery in Ethan Laird's absence, and I like the way Taylor Gardner-Hickman tries to get it in the box, but I think Chris Davies is going to keep on with Ethan Laird.
I think he'll do the same as he did against Bolton. He'll start with Laird. I think he'll probably give him an hour. because you want to ease him in. Because don't forget, he's been injured for quite a while. So I think, he'll just ease him in, and then he'll bring on Taylor Garden-Hickman or Samstead, depending on who's on the bench, but probably Taylor Garden-Hickman.
Yeah.
There. But I think, I agree, he'll start with Laird.
Yeah.
Let's go to the central midfield first.
I don't even feel like this needs stating at this point. It has to be Paik and Iwata.
The only caveat is that if he decides to rest one of them, because don't forget, but then
there's a big break now. Well, there's not a big break, but there's 4 days now.
Why would he? Because the next game after this is the
days.
under-21s, isn't it, against
Exactly.
Fulham, and he's not going to play them anyway. He'll give some of the other players a chance when he say yes, so why not? So I think it will be Paik and Iwata.
But it's a good point, Dad, because against Charlton, I think a lot of Blues fans noticed there was a bit of fatigue in there. That was part of the problem, was there was tired legs.
Yeah.
So we don't want tired legs again where we end up losing a game. So he might make a decision, because we're not on the training pitch. We don't see what Chris Davies sees. If he sees a bit of stamina gone or a bit of fitness gone, he might make that change. But if they're fully fit and they're happy and they give him the green light, I have no doubt Iwata and Paik will be in the
We've also got the option, if just say for argument's sake, Paik and Iwata are injured or for some reason not fully fit, we've got Mark Leonard and Taylor Garden-Hickman can play in there as well. So so there's options already.
Quality replacement.
Yeah, exactly as well. So we've done the central midfield. Let's do left.
So I've got a question here. So when we go left mid, centre mid, right mid, am I giving you what I want to see, or am I giving you what I think Chris Davies is going to pick?
Whichever. I mean, so you to explain and just tell me what.
Okay, so let me go across the line and tell you what I think I would like, and then I'll go through what I think Chris Davies is going to play. So for me, I would like to see Anderson on the left, Williamson in the 10, and Stansfield on the right. But I think he's going to go Anderson on the left, Mark Leonard in the 10, and back Williamson on the right.
As he did against
when
and Alfie and number 9.
Alfie mate at the number 9.
Yeah, because that covers the rest of the team.
Exactly.
I believe we haven't spoke about this. We never do before podcasts because we try and make them as organic as possible. But I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I've put. That's exactly what I've put because of the change he made against Lincoln, where he put Mark Leonard in the number 10. He put Williamson out on right, didn't he? He shifted Anderson over to
against Bolton.
Bolton. Yeah. Sorry, against Bolton. He shifted Anderson over to the left.
Yeah.
And he worked pretty well.
He did.
Yeah, like I say, me and Matt, as you know, if you watch the podcast on a regular basis, we are big fans of Williamson in number 10. That is what we prefer. But Chris Davies obviously adapts to him how he sees fit, and that's what he did against Bolton. He moved him over to the right. I agree. That's if he's going to be brave enough to try Stansfield on the right.
Yeah.
Which I'm not convinced he will, because Stansfield's now fit now. Yeah. The other option is to once again leave Stansfield on the bench. Leave Alfie May at the number 9. I know people say, "Oh yeah, how can you leave a £15 million player on the bench?" But this is about putting the best team out to win a game of football, and that May and Stansfield are going to get lots of football through the season, and it might be a case of interchanging them rather than putting them in the same team initially. But Chris Davies has got to make that decision. But I do agree with you. My preference would be to have Williamson in the number 10, put out Stansfield on the right. Anderson on the left and Alfie May up front.
Another alternative, Dad, what do you think about this? If he didn't want to play Stansfield and he wanted to put Williamson back in the number 10, put Anderson back on the right and maybe start Yokoyama on the left, so you could have Yokoyama, Williamson and Anderson.
That's a possibility as well.
Yeah.
That's the options we got, isn't it, really? And don't forget as well, we're not even talking about who's injured at the moment. Mark Wright. Scott Wright. Who's Mark Wright? Oh, Mark Wright used to play for Liverpool, didn't he, years ago? Yeah. That shows how old I am talking about Mark Wright. But that's Scott Wright. Scott Wright is still currently injured. He's still out, isn't he? And he's another option that comes into the equation once he's available as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we've been crying out for Scott Wright to get his first start, haven't we? So if he's back fit, he could have Scott Wright on the right, Williamson and Anderson, couldn't he? That could be an option. So
it's an embarrassment of options, isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah. Whichever he does, I mean, obviously he's going to do to suit the opposition.
Do we both agree though, Dad, that Alfie May in the 9, regardless if Stansfield would be fully fit?
Always, Alfie May, in my opinion, should only play number 9. In my opinion,
I agree.
I think anywhere else he just doesn't look right. He doesn't feel right. I think it also changes the team when he's playing outside of that position. So the dilemma for Chris Davies is that okay, if I'm playing Alfie at number 9, where do I put Stansfield?
Yeah.
Isn't it? So that's
and if the bench is the place for the interest of the team and getting the win, it has to be the bench.
Yeah, because it worked well. I mean, actually, what worked well against Bolton. Obviously, Jay Stansfield was off the back of his injury. He was on the bench against Bolton. Alfie May started off in the number 9, and then the substitution was made after about an hour, something like that, was it? Or
a bit later, but around that mark.
Yeah. So that could be an option. What I don't think Chris Davis will do is think, I've got to play them both together just because Alfie May was the Golden Boot winner last year and Jay Stansfield cost, what people think, 100 million now, is he up to? He's up to, but so basically you don't feel that you have to shoehorn them both into the team if the team is better using them in different ways.
You said something a couple of podcasts ago, Dad, and I completely agree. I would rather, at the minute, with the way that they're working, it's one or the other. I feel like when they're in the same team, it's not clicking or working. The chemistry isn't there. They're not flowing as much as we are when one of them is off. So I agree that in the interest of the team, making brutal decisions here, Alfie May for me in the number 9. And
all day long. Yeah, all day long. So that's what we think. On the bench, I've gone for Bailey Peacock-Farrell, Taylor Gardner-Hickman.
Yeah.
It's either going to be Taylor Gardner-Hickman or Samstead, but on the basis of what he did against Bolton, Taylor Gardner-Hickman, Sanderson, Leonard, Yokoyama and Dykes.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, what squad depth that is absolutely insanity, isn't it?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm expecting, Mansfield in 4th, the home team. I think they won't pay us a lot of respect. I think we will dominate in terms of possession. We will dominate in terms of quality. And I'm actually going to go for a repeat of the Bolton game, Dad. I'm going to go Mansfield 0, Birmingham City 2.
Oh, I hadn't thought about the score. Okay, I'll come on to that now. But just one final point about Man City. This is a very final point. They've got an equal good away record as we have. So they've done the same. They've won 4 and lost 1 out of their 5 games.
They've won 3 on the bounce away as well.
Yeah. Not that that's relevant because they're at home, aren't they?
It's still an important stat.
But what I'm saying is they're a good side and they know how to win games, basically. I think that's the point I'm making. Let me give you a score prediction then. So I'm going to go for Mansfield 1, Birmingham 3.
Okay. Nice.
Because I think I always, I'm always like thinking we always are potentially vulnerable to concede a goal.
Yeah.
And I've been right in most games, unfortunately. Right. I'd love to see another clean sheet because, we got a clean sheet against Bolton. If we can start to accumulate a few clean sheets now, it makes the whole job a lot easier. Yeah. But I do think these are a good side in this league. They've shown that. They've got momentum. Mm-hmm. They'll have a bit of confidence. They're at home. Yeah. I think they'll score. I hope it's not in the first minute.
I don't think again, call it a gut feeling or whatever you want to call it. There's something about Allsop at the minute in between the sticks. There's something about how we're defending. I think we're getting there. Yeah. I think these clean sheets will start to get more regular, actually. And I've got a feeling this game is going to play out relatively similar to the Bolton game. I think we'll get a relatively early goal and then we'll get a goal relatively late in the game then to put it to bed. I think it'll be 2-0 early and late and hopefully can bring those 3 points back with us.
Absolutely, and that's a great way to finish the podcast. And love to know your opinions. I mean, we're really looking forward to this game. I'm sure the Mansfield fans are as well, and we'd love to hear from you as well, Mansfield fans. What do you think about the game, your team? I know that you're going to have a lot of confidence. We've seen some of the comments and seen them on social media. Wait till you get to our stadium, and you're in for a surprise. And we've heard that all season off every single team. But we know that your league position is where you deserve to be, and we're really looking forward to playing you. So leave your comments below. Birmingham City supporters or Mansfield supporters, always happy to read your comments, and we'll always get back to you. Just below the video. If you did like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, you pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And also, if you like to hear or watch your podcast on Spotify, we're on there as well now, and you'll see the handles appearing for all of these on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. And also, don't forget to hit the bell as well next to the subscribe button if you want notifications every time we put a video out. But we do hope you've enjoyed the podcast. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.